How would you feel if you were working on a master's degree in literature, took a course in Great American Literature, and the professor walks in and says, okay, now it's time for us to recite our ABCs. ABC. Or how would you feel if you were working on a PhD in astrophysics? You go to the chair of your committee and you say, I have an idea for my project. What I think I'll do is something on gravitational lensing. And he says, no. No, I think what you ought to do is make a really nice mobile with the sun and the planets. But don't worry about the moons. That's too complicated. Just the sun and the planets. Or how would you feel if you were working on an MBA and you had to see a course for international tariffs and import-export law? You take the class and the instructor comes in and says, okay, everybody take off your shoes and socks. Okay, we're going to do this little piggy went to this international market. This little piggy went to the Asian market, and this little piggy went to the EU. Would you put up with that? Would you? And why do you do it in Christianity? I'm stepping on myself here. Why would you do that in Christianity? Most people in the Christian church are at a Sunday school level education, if that much. Now, the kind of education I'm talking about isn't, so let's all recite John 3:16. That's Sunday school. The type of education I'm talking about is burrowing into the story and discovering the deep meaning there that's relevant for my life and your life as we negotiate the world. Okay. You know, I've been to see the bishop over preaching like this. Those of you who've been here for a while realize that. But I never stopped. One of the things I decided to do years ago, even before I got to St. Mary's, was speak the truth in homilies, even if it was hard to hear. Having said that, the following homily is rated MC 17 and is intended for mature congregations only due to its strong spiritual and sexual content. Cover your ears. John's Gospel is a very important lesson for us. And the thing that screws us up, did it really happen? Was Jesus there in darkness and Nicodemus really? Doesn't matter. Does not matter. It really didn't happen. It's a construction by John. It doesn't matter. What matters is the story. And what does the story say to us? I found a poem by Jalaluddin Rumi that I think exegetes. Exegete is reading from the text. What we do in the church usually is eisegete, which reads into the text. This poem exegetes. There was a feast. The king was hardly in his cups. He saw a learned scholar walking by. Bring him in and give him some of this fine wine. Fine wine is a metaphor for ecstatic love and spiritual conversation. That's the way Rumi is employing it. Now you notice he's a learned scholar. So here's our Nicodemus person. Servants rushed out and brought the man to the king's table, but he was not receptive. I had rather drink poison. I have never tasted wine and never will. Take it away from me. He kept on with these loud refusals, disturbing the atmosphere of the feast. This is how it sometimes is at God's table. Someone who has heard about ecstatic love but never tasted it disrupts the banquet. So I'm going to stay in my head. I don't want to get to this real earth-shattering, life-changing stuff. Or I'm going to stay in my heart. John 3:16, I'm going to hold that up at the ball games and stuff. I'm just going to stay in my heart and gush all over the place because I don't really want to get to that earth-shattering, life-changing place that this gospel lesson is talking about. If there were a secret passage from his ear to his throat, everything in him would change. Initiation would occur. That's what all this born-again stuff's about. You see, we're so chicken. The NRSV takes born again out and says born from above, which really screws up the metaphor. Talk about being born again in a very real and unique way, with my head, with my heart, coming together, shaping what Paul called a new creation, a new creature. The whole world changes. Oh, I don't want that. What would that mean for me? What responsibilities would that mean? As it is, he's all fire and no light, all husk and no kernel. And that's what spiritual kindergarten is like for people your age and mine. It's all husk, no kernel. Let's tell happy Jesus stories. Why bother? How are you fed by that? Spiritual kindergarten is meant for younger people, not even this age. Even younger. The king gave orders. Cupbearer, do what you must. This is how your invisible guide acts. The chess champion across from you that always wins. He cuffed the scholar's head and said, taste. And again, the cup was drained. And the intellectual started singing and telling ridiculous jokes. See, change happens. He joined the garden, snapping his fingers and swaying. Soon, of course, he had to pee. Now we're getting to the sex part. Cover your ears. He went out, and there near the latrine was a beautiful woman, one of the king's heralds. His mouth hung open. He wanted her. Oh, right then, he wanted her. And she was not unwilling. They fell too on the ground. You've seen a baker rolling dough. He kneads it gently at first, then more roughly. He pounds it on the board. It softly groans under his palms. Now he spreads it out and rolls it flat. Then he bunches it and rolls it all the way out again. Thin. Now he adds water and mixes it well. Now salt and a little more salt. Now he shapes it delicately to its final shape and slides it into the oven, which is already hot. You remember bread making. This is how your desire tangles with a desired one. And it's not just a metaphor for a man and a woman making love. Warriors in battle do this too. A great mutual embrace is always happening between the eternal and what dies, between essence and accident. And that's the heart of our gospel. The sport has different rules in every case, but it's basically the same. And remember, the way you make love is the way God will be with you. And remember, the way you make love is the way God will be with you. First time I heard that, that was a sobering thought. And going back to the spiritual realm, there's a lot of pornographic theology out there. Let's see, did Jesus really blah, 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 blah? And the scholars cuts down trees and fills library. Good, give me a break. Oh, yay, Jesus. Jesus is a... Give me a break. It's pornographic theology. But the real theology, The real spiritual moment is just like when two lovers come together, not out of a sense of animal rutting, but out of a true, intimate desire. And it's not just two flesh becoming one. It's two hearts becoming one. Two souls becoming one in a mystical experience of union. Nicodemus comes out of the darkness seeking the light. And Jesus gives him the beauty of union with the divine and gives you that union as well. Spiritual kindergarten. No wonder our churches are empty. But remember, the way you make love, that is the way God will be with you.